issue hearing communications out of the right earpiece in his communications cap. This would normally not be an issue if critical tasks still were required outside, but with all of the objectives of this spacewalk having been completed, the only issue was would they press ahead with a couple of get-ahead tasks that can easily be scheduled on a future spacewalk and not critical at all for the time being. So the decision was made, and the crew was informed by spacewalk communicator Tom Marshburn to complete the spacewalk as planned now, the crew running well ahead of the timeline.
You can retrieve Kate's safety tether anchor and attach it to your waist tether.
Copy. Okay, the IDA cable over you guys on the
Again, all of the other suit systems for Jeff Williams as well as Kate Rubins have been working perfectly, but because of a slight intermittent problem with Williams hearing communications out of his right earpiece in his communications cap, the decision was made not to press ahead with non-critical get-ahead work that would have involved some photos of the alpha magnetic spectrum.
Houston, airlock on one. I have a good comm with EV crew.
Takoya Onishi and Anatoly Ivanishin in the equipment lock section of Quest. Just beyond that hatchway are Williams and Rubins. The hatch is closed to the airlock, the outer portion, the crew lock section, as we stand by for the repressurization of the airlock. And the repressurization of the crew lock section of Quest is now underway. With the start of the repressurization at 1:02 p.m. Central Time, the spacewalk has concluded with an official elapsed time of 5 hours and 58 minutes. Again, the repressurization of the Quest airlock beginning at 1:02 p.m. Central Time for an end to today's spacewalk by Jeff Williams and Kate Rubins at 5 hours and 58 minutes. Jeff Williams and Kate Rubins back inside. So everything went by the book with the installation of the international docking adapter, the new docking port that is now permanently attached to pressurized mating adapter number 2 at the forward end of the Harmony module. Williams and Rubins worked well ahead of their timeline throughout the course of the day and completed all of the cable routing and reconfiguration of cables outside that now are providing both heater power and other data power and electrical capability to the new international docking adapter for the future arrival of the SpaceX Crew Dragon and the Boeing CST-100 Starliner commercial crew vehicles. After a quick pause at 5 pounds per square inch, the repressurization of the crew lock has resumed. Williams and Rubens safely back inside. A very happy team of flight controllers here in Mission Control as the era of U.S. commercial crew capability to the International Space Station took one giant step today in the right direction with the attachment of the first of 2 international docking adapters at the International Complex. To repeat those statistics that I provided just a moment ago for those just tuning in, the spacewalk ending at 1:02 p.m. Central Time with the start of the repressurization of the crew lock section of the Quest airlock. Takoya Onishi and Anatoly Ivanishin standing by at the hatchway to the crew lock as they wait for the full repressurization and their ability to open up that hatch to bring Williams and Rubens back inside the equipment lock section. The spacewalk ended at 5 hours and 58 minutes. Jeff Williams, 4 spacewalks now totaling 25 hours and 7 minutes of spacewalking time. The 194 spacewalks in history to support space station assembly and maintenance, now totaling 1,210 hours and 46 minutes, or 50 days, 10 hours and 46 minutes of spacewalking time.
Station Houston on Space to Ground 1 for talk when convenient.
The crew lock section of Quest is now fully repressurized, and Onishi is now turning the handle that will open up the hatch to enable our 2 spacewalkers to return to the equipment lock.
Houston, go ahead.
Hey, Talk, we have a couple deltas for you on your post-EVA procedure, so give us a call when you'd like to copy those.
Okay, can I first remove safer and put them in the EDA?
And Talk, we do have one step for you that's before the safer doffing.
Okay, so I'm ready to copy.
Just like a report if EV1's right ear cup ever recovered audio, and also the volume intensity on the DCM.
The hatch now open, and Onishi and Ivanishin will help the crew members back inside.
Hey, welcome back.
That is Kate Rubin's first back inside their safer backpacks, the jet backpacks that are used only in the unlikely event that a crew member would become untethered outside of the space station. They would be able to propel themselves back to the safety of the station. Those jetpacks will be removed so that the crew members can be mounted on either side wall of the equipment lock as they begin to doff their suits. The delivery of the International Docking Adapter to the International Space Station, years in the making. And the spacewalk today that installed the IDA as the new docking port for U.S. commercial crew vehicles in the future went off without a hitch. Everything went by the book, the crew working ahead of the timeline throughout the day. And Jeff Williams now moving back to his respective position on the sidewall of the equipment lock section of the Quest airlock. Williams today with the completion of his 4th spacewalk, now 25 hours and 7 minutes of spacewalking time. Next Wednesday, Williams will surpass Scott Kelly's.
Airlock on 1.
Go ahead, talk.
I don't remember exactly which one is volume, but all knobs are around between 4 and 5.
Copy. Volume was around 3, 4, 5.
Either 4 or 5.
Copy. 4 or 5. Thank you.
That call checking on the volume setting for Jeff Williams' ComCap right at the end of the spacewalk with the possibility of a couple of get-aheads in the offing. Williams developed a slight intermittent problem with the dropout in his right ear cup of that communications cap. Of course, no impact to the spacewalk since all of the objectives had already been completed and the get-ahead tasks that were being considered by the flight control team here in Houston will be placed on a future timeline.
Okay, Houston, airlock on 1. I'm ready to copy the deltas.
Okay, thanks, Talk. In step 11, we have some extra steps on the glove inspection and photos. Please take photos of both the loose thread on the left pinky that was reported and the RTV cut in the right index finger. How copy?
That's for AV1?
That's
Okay.
affirmative.
Left hand, pinky, and index.
Good readback. And our last delta is in step 22. Please take photos of EV1's ComCap and embeds and report if there's any moisture noticed around the embeds.
Copy. This. Again.
So as Takuya Onishi and Anatoly Ivanishin, along with Alexei Ovchinin, work to get the helmets off of Kate Rubins and Jeff Williams, first order of business, as is always the case after a spacewalk, is to take detailed photographs of the gloves and other areas around the suit, just to document the amount of wear and tear those suits go through during each spacewalk. This is Mission Control Houston, continuing our coverage as we watch work to document the spacesuits of Jeff Williams and Kate Rubins, which is typical for a post-spacewalk time frame in the equipment lock section of Quest. The spacewalk having ended at 1:02 p.m. Central Time with the start of the repressurization of the crew lock section of Quest. Both crew members back inside the equipment lock. They'll be doffing their helmets and the rest of their spacesuit hardware a short time from now. This is Mission Control Houston, photo documentation continuing by Takuya Onishi of the spacesuits of Kate Rubins and Jeff Williams. This is par for the course following any spacewalk. A nice overhead shot here in the camera mounted at the very top of the equipment lock section of Quest. You see Anatoly Ivanishin at the hatchway between the equipment and crew lock sections of Quest. A short time from now, the crew will doff their helmets, and we will begin to wrap up our coverage with a quick highlight clip of the major events of today's spacewalk. Rubins and Williams will have very little time to rest up. Another busy week ahead. Next Wednesday, Williams will be surpassing Scott Kelly's record for most days in space by a U.S. astronaut as he eclipses the 520-day mark that Kelly established during his one-year mission aboard the International Space Station. A week from today, on August 26th, Williams and Rubens will be at the workstation, the robotic workstation in the cupola, as they use the Canadarm2 robotic arm to release the SpaceX Dragon cargo craft that brought to the station the international docking adapter that Williams and Rubens helped install and outfit today. That Dragon spacecraft due to be released at 5:10 a.m. Central Time next Friday morning. Our coverage of its release will begin at 4:45 a.m. Central Time, a week from today, Friday, August 26th. And there's one more spacewalk on tap for Williams and Rubens, that being on Thursday, September 1st, just 13 days from now. The crewmates will move outside of the Quest airlock and retract a thermal control radiator that was deployed as part of a reconfiguration of the station's cooling system a few years ago in an effort to isolate a leak in the cooling system of the complex. With that leak having been traced to a different component and fixed, that thermal radiator needs to be retracted, and that'll be the first order of business for Williams and Rubens on September 1st, followed by other work to install the first of a series of enhanced high-definition cameras outside of the station on the truss of the complex. We will hold a briefing to preview that spacewalk, that next spacewalk by Williams and Rubens, on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, August 24th, at 1 p.m. Central Time on NASA TV. The spacewalk itself scheduled for Thursday, September 1st. And the crew members' helmets now being removed.
Station Houston, non-space to ground 1 for talk when convenient. And for the crew in the airlock, we'd like to add a step. We see that you are taking off the comm cap, and as you're doing so, could you please verify how the connector is seated, please?
Jeff is saying that it's not a complete failure, and he can barely hear it. And it looks like connection is just nominal. It's not loose, but we see some condensate water. It's just right. Huh? Yeah, you are on the call, but probably not to Houston. To Houston. Oh, really? Yeah, I think so. Hello? Yes.
The crew members, along with Takuya Onishi, are checking out Jeff Williams' ComCap.
3, 2, 1. Check 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Check 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so here's an airlock on one, so yeah, sounds like he can barely hear us on his right side, but doesn't have any issue with the left side.
Okay, we copy. He can still barely hear on the right, no issues on the left, and good connection. Did you verify all the various connectors were seated properly?
Check.
Thanks, Todd.
This is all part of the analysis of that ComCap. Jeff Williams experiencing some problems hearing out of the right earpiece in that ComCap during the final minutes of the spacewalk that eliminated any possibility of doing a couple of minor get-ahead tasks. No impact to the spacewalk and no impact to the next spacewalk. There are other ComCap components that can be used by Williams for the next spacewalk. So we've lost our data to move into the crew lock section of Quest, to have the hatch closed behind them and to depressurize the crew lock section. The crew placed their suits on internal battery power at 7:04 a.m. Central Time and quickly made their way outside of the Quest airlock to begin to set up all of their tools and equipment for the major task that lie ahead, that being the installation of the first international docking adapter to pressurized mating adapter number 2.
Copy that. Thanks for the photos.
The crew made their way towards the forward end of the Harmony module, to which PMA-2 is located and used to serve as the docking port for visiting space shuttles. At that point, as you can see, Kate Rubins on the bottom of your picture, Jeff Williams on the top, began to hook up connections for hook power and heaters between pressurized mating adapter number 2 and the international docking adapter itself. That paved the way for commands to be sent from a control panel by Onishi inside the Harmony module to close 2 sets of hooks, 12 hooks in all, that hard mated the IDA to pressurized mating adapter number 2. After that was over with, the crew took a moment to document all of the activities and complete the reconfiguration of connectors in the international docking adapter that will accommodate power to the forward end of the IDA that will accept the arrival of U.S. commercial crew vehicles in the future. One of the big steps, of course, was the removal of a large thermal cover by Rubins and Williams to expose the actual docking port to which the SpaceX Crew Dragon and the Boeing CST-100 Starliner vehicles will link up to in the years ahead. All of that work was completed very early on in the EVA with no problems at all, and finally allowing Kate Rubins to string yet another cable along the Harmony module towards pressurized mating adapter number 2 at the forward end. That will accommodate the installation of the next international docking adapter that will be launched in late 2017 on a SpaceX Dragon cargo craft that will be mated to the space-facing side of the Harmony module of the International Outpost. With all of their work done, the crew finally called it a day. And Kate Rubins.